So, it's day number 36 in hiding. 36 days since I saw another living soul. Or well, another living dead soul I should probably say, and it's been 36 days since I saw daylight and heard the final emergency broadcast from government that essentially all was lost. The virus had infected over 70% of the population. There was no stopping it. You're on your own, do what you must to survive. And so I did, and I have so far survived 36 days. 36 days of isolation, of frustration, of loneliness, sadness, and fear. Because above ground would be a death sentence for me. The virus is all that it can to thrive and survive. It gives the infected capabilities, I guess you could say, of detecting the uninfected through a heightened sense of smell, a heightened sense of hearing, and God knows what else. Probably some extra sense the uninfected don't have, and it empowers the infected so as to empower itself until every last human on Earth is dead and it has no one else to infect. And ultimately it dies itself, or it will find a new host, maybe some animal it can live off. But for now it's a waiting game, and I'm just waiting for them all to die off, which sounds terrible to say because some of the infected out there are my friends, my family, but what can I do? There's no saving them, and death is now the best thing for them and for me. But I'm safe for now, as long as I stay where I am underground, and I've fortified this place to the best of my capabilities. There's no way that I can think of that the infected could gain access unless they're packing dynamite. This place is unpenetrable, and I've got enough food to last me 6 months easily, and plenty of water. A glass of water a day is enough for me. I've got decent ventilation too, a relatively comfy bed, and I've soundproofed the place as best I can. So from the outside, you can't hear a thing that's going on down here. I hope anyway. I mean, I wouldn't be screaming my lungs out or anything, but it's pretty good. And on top of all that, there's a couple of animal carcasses strewn around outside, dogs, cats, anything I could find, because a lot of them died after their owners got the virus and couldn't look after them anymore. So I was able to gather up a few, and they act as like a repellent to keep the infected away from the area because of the smell of decaying flesh. The infected hate it. They want fresh meat. So yeah, I'm sure it smells pretty bad out there. Anyway, I reckon that a lot of those who were originally infected, I mean, like in the first 2 weeks to a month, I reckon they're already dead because they have like 8 to 10 weeks maximum before the virus kills them, and it's now been 13 weeks since the first case of the virus was detected here in the United States. And in that first month, about 20% of the American population had become infected, which means, according to my calculations, that at least 20% of all Americans pre-virus are now dead. And then, of course, the rate at which people were getting infected after the first month rose dramatically as the system just completely collapsed. And just over 5 weeks ago, when I went into hiding, the number of those infected was estimated to be at 70%. So, if people like me can remain in hiding and remain undetected for about another, let's say just to be on the safe side, another 12 to 15 weeks, then every infected person could be dead by then, which leaves us, the uninfected, in a virus-free world, I hope. Although, I'm not sure if the world I will be greeted by will be one I want to live in. And that's actually my greatest fear. Like, I step outside, the streets are deserted, the place is silent, the stench of death in the air, rotting corpses all over the street, men, women, children, just contorted and rotting, their eyes pecked out by the birds, a nightmarish reality that I won't be able to unsee, a future not worth living in. That's what I fear most. My dad is gone, my mom is gone, my sister too, and then I'm sitting here with a sense of guilt that I should be out there trying to save them, or looking for their bodies to give them a proper burial, and that guilt is eating me alive like the virus itself. It's chipping away at my sanity, but what can I do realistically? I would never find them. And how long would I last out there before I was chased down and became one of them? But then I think, well, maybe it's best if I let that happen, just stop trying to survive. I mean, what's the point in the future if you have no one to share it with? I don't know. Tomorrow maybe I'll feel differently, and that's the thing. Some mornings I wake up with a sense of optimism. Other mornings I'm thinking about ending it, but I guess that's a life lesson in itself. Hang in there another day and another, and eventually the storm will pass, and when the next one comes, you ride it out just like the last, and in time, hope will appear on the horizon. Anyway, that reminds me actually, tomorrow morning I have to check.
All beating around the motherfucking bush about what it was, calling it a virus that don't scare people, terminology like that. They should have been like, yo, listen up, y'all. Some members of the public are turning into crazy-ass zombie-looking motherfuckers. Now get your shit together before you start twitching and shit and start getting an urge to chomp down on your homie's neck. That's what they should have said. Instead, they was calling it a virus, y'all. This ain't no virus, man. A virus is when you got a scratchy throat, a nose running like a homie from the police, a bit of a temperature, a lack of energy, all that shit. That's a virus. I mean, come on. If you rang your boss and was like, yo, I can't come in today. I ain't feeling too good. I'm foaming at the mouth. My eyes are bleeding. I'm twitching like a dead chicken. My skin is falling off, and I just ate a piece of my own face. You think your boss would be like, hey, sounds like you got some sort of virus. You better take a couple of days off. Hell no. He wouldn't be calling it no virus. He'd be saying, stay the fuck away from me, man. That's some nasty ass zombie symptoms you got. But instead, people was like, it's just a virus, until the president went batshit crazy and ate the first lady, and not in a good way. And then people was like, damn, this is serious. But by that stage, it was too late, y'all. Nothing nobody could do about it. Twitchy looking motherfuckers be everywhere, and I lost people. It's sad, man. I lost my homie JJ Jabari III. He was shot by the police up in the hood. He was acting all aggressive and shit, attacking people, trying to gouge their eyes out and shit. He didn't have the virus. That was just his personality. But yeah, he going through them pearly gates, y'all. I miss you, my man. Much love, JJ. But whatever the situation may be, DJ Apocalypse is a survivor and a thriver. I got my place all boarded up and barricaded with whatever I got, making use of everyday objects. You know the drill, y'all. And I wake up every morning, look at my surroundings, and try and think of one positive thing I got. Yesterday was a table leg. Now you put a couple of big ass nails in it, and you got yourself a nasty ass anti-zombie skull puncturing piece of fuck off wood that adds an extra layer of security and help you sleep at night. Finding positivity in what little you got, that's the key. And this morning I was looking at my ugly ass boarded up windows, thinking, damn, they about as miserable looking as a dead fly face down in a piece of dog shit. And that got me thinking, I'm gonna go Michelangelo on that shit. Paint them up like the Sistine motherfucking Chapel, y'all. So I got my old paints and brushes out from the time I went through my expressing my feelings phase. Painting big ass titties and bubble butts floating above the hood. But anyway, I got him out, and I painted that shit up. So I got a nice view to look out on now. So tomorrow I'm gonna wake up, and the first thing I see outside my imaginary window is a big set of titties pressed up against the glass with good written on one titty and morning written on the other. I mean, come on, man. If that don't put you in a good mood for the day, I don't know what will. As for the other window, I ain't decided what I'm gonna do yet. I was thinking like rolling green hills, a nice blue sky with a couple fluffy clouds doing their thing, floating and shit like clouds be doing, some birds too, man, maybe a river meandering its way through the hills, a bunny nibbling on a berry bush, getting his nutrition and shit, and maybe a couple trees, nice juicy peaches on them blowing in the breeze, and then a fine ass bubble butted beauty just doing her thing, strutting that stuff, letting it all hang out, maybe like beckoning me to come outside. Like, hey, DJ Apocalypse, what you doing? I need some help out here. These peaches ain't gonna pick themselves. Now get your lazy ass out here and get yourself some of this fine peach. But yeah, I don't know. It's just an idea. But whatever situation you in, you gotta look at the positive and keep yourself busy, man. Ain't no good sitting around on your mopey ass thinking about things that you can't change. Put your energy into things that you can. So every day, that's what I be doing. I can't change what's going on outside, but I can change what's going on in here. And so I be doing some painting and decorating and shit. It's good for the mind, man. When you turn something ugly into something beautiful, that shit be good for the soul, y'all, for real. Yeah, hold on a second. I can hear something. They back again, y'all, but I'm used to this shit by now. Ain't no big thing. Just gotta wait it out and be quiet for a bit. It might sound like they close to getting in, but believe me, they ain't. They'll try a bit longer and then just move on. I don't know what in the hell that is. Sounds like they clawing at the door or some shit, but I think there's just one of them out there. Yeah, one of them creepy sons of bitches is clawing and scratching at the door. Creepy ass motherfucker. Shit, that was a loud one. Go on, man. Go creep someone else out. DJ Apocalypse ain't on the menu tonight, man. Damn, this dude persistent as fuck. Yeah, I think it's gone, y'all. I think that's it. It's gone. It definitely gone. It's the same damn shit every night, y'all. First time I've heard that scraping sound, though, but yeah, like I said, ain't nothing getting through that door. That door is solid, man. It can't be broken down. Oh, shit. Yo, back the fuck up. Back up. Oh, shit. Come on.
Okay, so my theory is that this virus originated from an extraterrestrial source. That incident a couple of months back, people all over the world reporting weird-looking things in the sky. They captured the bloody things on video, but of course the government downplayed the whole thing as a hoax or whatever. But they looked pretty authentic to me anyway, and if those things were from another planet, we're talking many light years away, outside our solar system. It's entirely plausible that what we're facing is not just a natural disaster, but a biological byproduct of an alien encounter. I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that these things appear and within weeks we're hearing reports about a strange virus doing the rounds, which at first nobody really took seriously because the government, the media, and pharmaceutical companies and whatnot duped us all before about that sort of thing way back in the early 2020s. But anyway, consider the symptoms of this virus: the violence and aggression, the twitching, the growling, the urge to eat human flesh, the deterioration of the mind these extraterrestrials could have brought with them. A biological agent, in other words, the virus as we know it, and this agent could be a form of life undergoing its own survival struggle, seeking to propagate and adapt in a wildly unfamiliar biosphere, and the zombie-like behavior we're witnessing could be the manifestation of this creature's desperate, instinctual drive to assimilate into its new surroundings. Now, I know some of you will be rolling your eyes, dismissing this notion as mere science fiction, but hear me out. I mean, just like how invasive species on Earth exhibit bizarre adaptations to thrive, think of those tenacious creatures that shift ecosystems. What if this alien virus is doing just that on a cosmic scale? I mean, it's not so far-fetched to consider that these beings are simply trying to adapt to our atmosphere.
Just trying to keep my wife and my kids safe, and of course with them being kids, I can't tell them to stay quiet 24/7 so as not to attract attention. I have to just let them be kids and enjoy themselves. They can't fully grasp the seriousness of the situation. I mean, of course they know that things are different from a few months ago. Obviously they're asking why they don't go to school anymore, why me and their mom don't work anymore, why are we in this ugly boarded up building all the time, why can't we go out and play, why can't we see our friends. There's so many questions, and we try to answer them as best we can. And I mean, they know there's a virus, obviously. They know many people have died. They've heard the infected outside. We've come under attack quite a few times, but we try not to panic them. And when we have come under attack, we play down the situation. And by the way, they're not listening to anything I'm saying. They're too busy having fun in the background, as you can probably hear. But yeah, we just play it down, tell them to get to a corner. It's time to play the quiet game. And all things considered, they're doing great. And my wife and myself, we're holding up okay. I mean, we're worn out, we're scared, we're wondering what the future holds. But we're hopeful because the longer we wait this thing out, the closer we get to it all coming to an end, and maybe, just maybe, living a life with some sense of normality. I've heard some people saying we'll have to wait it out another 3 or 4 months, but I think it'll be more like a year. I mean, I don't know, but I'm not willing to chance going outside until I know that every last infected person is dead and the virus has no chance of coming back. And I think a year should do it. The rate of infections are slowing down, which is great, with about 85 to 90% of people having already contracted the virus. 50% of them are probably already dead. And so there are less people to infect, and the uninfected, who are now small in number, are more difficult to find for the infected to pass on the virus. And for that reason, I'm hopeful the infected will grow weaker and weaker with less sustenance. They will be dropping dead in the millions worldwide, and the world of the future is going to be a very, very strange one. It's going to be a lot less crowded, that's for sure. We're going to have to basically start again, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. But that's a long way off yet. We can't go getting ahead of ourselves and letting our guard down. There's going to be many more who get infected before this thing is over, and our priority is keeping ourselves safe. If me or my wife get this virus somehow, God forbid, then the kids are on their own, and that's how this thing spread so quickly. Family members got it. Understandably, other family members weren't willing to just put a bullet in their head to lessen the risk of other family members from getting it. Instead, they tried to help their mothers, their fathers, their brothers and sisters, their wives, their kids, as you would naturally do, and ultimately fell victim to the virus themselves. And from there, it just completely spiraled out of control. The protectors became the aggressors as the virus took hold, and the parents who once did everything in their power to protect their kids were now biting into the flesh of their own children. So if I ever suspect just for a second that I am displaying any symptoms of the virus, I have instructed my wife to immediately, without any hesitation, put a bullet in my head, and if she won't do it, and I still have the mental capacity to understand what's happening, I'll put a bullet in my own head before I become a threat to my own family.
Michael, can you please not pee on the toilet seat, or at least wipe it when you do?
Sure, honey. I'm sorry.
Be sorry, Michael. Be better.
Yes, okay, honey. I'll work on improving my aim.
Don't get smart with me, Michael. I am sick to death of sitting in your piss every time I go to the bathroom.
Well, maybe it was Nathan. How do you know it was me?
Nathan's a 2-year-old. How the hell could he reach that high?
I don't know, good genetics. Takes after his father in the manhood department.
Oh, shut up, Michael, and turn that crap off. Turn it off. If you want to protect your family, go nail that plank in properly in the back room.
Okay, give me 5 minutes, honey.
No, now. I'm sick of you sitting on your ass talking to that stupid radio. Go do it.
All right. For the love of God, can't a man just get some goddamn peace without being constantly bombarded with shit day in, day out? I'll turn it off. Are you happy now?
Yes, I'm very happy.
I'm turning off. I'm turning it off.
And so my brother got it first, and we, I guess, refused to believe that he had it. We put his irrational behavior down to drug use because He had a history of drug abuse, crack and meth mostly, but deep down we knew, I think we all knew that he had the virus, and when the twitching started, the foaming at the mouth, just the unusual body movements, we knew for certain, but we held off taking any drastic measures like the government was recommending at the time, the guidelines or whatever. What to do when a loved one is showing signs of the virus, we couldn't do that. Family is everything to us. So we weren't willing to just throw him out on the streets and let the military deal with him, just shoot him like a dog in the street. We couldn't turn him in because we knew they would just take him away and kill him and burn his body in a heap of other bodies. We couldn't do that, so we tried restraining him. We gave him raw meat. Anything we had in the freezer just to satisfy his cravings or whatever. We just tried doing what we thought was best for him and hope that somehow, by some miracle, he would be that exception, the one person who got the virus but recovered from it. But of course that wasn't the case, and one day my mom went into his room, and I don't know exactly what happened, but she obviously got too close to him, and he bit into her arm, latched onto it, and my mother was screaming, so we ran in and we tried as hard as we could to prise his mouth open, but his grip was just, it was impossible to loosen it. He was completely locked on, but we kept trying, and that's when he let go and just turned really quickly on my sister and latched onto her face, and she fell to the ground and he landed on top of her, and he was just mauling her face like a wild animal. She was screaming and kicking, pulling his hair, scratching him, anything she could do to get him off, but she couldn't, and I was hitting him in the back of the head, screaming for him to let go, and then I just picked up the closest thing to me, or the heaviest, hardest thing, which was his old electric guitar, and I just swung it, not straight down, but from the side, because I didn't want the impact to injure my sister, and it hit him, and he was kind of in a semi-conscious state. His eyes were half closed. He was basically knocked out, but he was still latched onto my sister's face, like he's still chewing it, and I lifted the guitar again, hit him one more time, and he released, and he fell on his back and twitched for a couple of seconds, snapping and biting at the air, and then that was it. He was dead. And my sister, she didn't even make it 5 minutes. She had suffered horrendous injuries to her face and neck, and there was just blood pumping out of it, like pumping out of her neck, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. She just looked so scared, and I can't get that image out of my mind, the way Alicia looked at me as if to say, please sis, do something, help me, don't let me die, but I couldn't. I just couldn't do anything, and I love you, sis. I'm sorry I couldn't save you. I love you. Need to compose myself a bit. Just 1 second. Okay, I'm good. So my mom, she started showing symptoms of the virus within 48 hours, and by day 4, she was just like my brother, and I did the same thing. I restrained her on day 3 when she started the twitching and started having these like mini convulsions, and then she would completely zone out for like 30 minutes afterwards, just stare at me, making these grunting and growling sounds, just like my brother was doing. And then sometimes she would be shouting obscenities at me like she was possessed or something, and so I restrained her when she was in one of her zoned out phases, and obviously over time she got worse and worse, but I tried, as stupid as it sounds, to make her as comfortable as possible, to tell her I loved her, that I was trying to help her, but she was out of her mind. She wasn't, like registering anything I was saying, and her behavior just became more and more erratic, and she just looked tormented. That's the only way I can put it, just tormented. And that's when I decided it's time to do something. I'm not going to let this virus slowly and painfully kill her. I'm going to put an end to this and make it a quick and painless death. And that's what I did. First, I put on her favorite song, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay by Otis Redding. Then I lit her favorite scented candle, Amber and Sandalwood. I told her I loved her, and I shot her in the back of the head.
The mistake people made was thinking that this virus could only be transmitted through actual physical contact with the infected. Like you had to be bitten or scratched or whatever, and that's where people went wrong. They went out and mingled in the early days and thought, well, as long as I don't get attacked, I'm good, not knowing that this thing could be spread just as easily as the common cold. And by the time people started realizing that it was too late, and then panic set in, and then within a few days the infection rate went from like 3 or 4% of the population to 20%, and then 30, 40, 50, and so on. And the infected, they have an urge to bite, but that's not to pass on the virus. That's just because they're hell-bent on consuming human flesh, and in a lot of cases even their own. It's sick. And like, I saw a guy a couple weeks back biting chunks out of his own arm, his own tendons and muscle and shit hanging out of his mouth. It almost made me throw up. I saw another guy about 4 days ago, and he had ripped off his own ear and was just chewing it like a piece of bacon. Blood absolutely streaming down the side of his face. It was just disgusting. But yeah, I have a good vantage point where I am. I can see a lot of things without putting myself in danger, and I get the binoculars out every morning, scan the surroundings, and it's such a bizarre scene to witness every morning. The streets completely thrashed, rotting corpses and body parts all over the place. Sometimes you see a few brave or stupid, depends on how you look at it, uninfected people in the street, obviously searching for food or whatever. They chance going outside for a few minutes, and some of them do find things because the infected are not interested in a lot of the stuff in the dumpsters. They just want raw meat, so there's quite a bit of food still out there. And yeah, sometimes you'll see them find stuff in the dumpsters and run back to their hideout or whatever. Other times you see them getting chased down the street or cornered by the infected, who just rip them limb from limb. But yeah, the infected and the uninfected are both out every morning, just doing their thing, looking for breakfast. But anyway, I'm holding up okay. I got everything I need in terms of surviving for the next few months. Sucks having no internet though. That's one thing I haven't got used to over the last few months. Having no internet. I mean, seriously, what did people actually do before the internet existed? I don't know. I really have no idea. All I remember is a world with internet until a few months ago. And when it went, it was like a huge chunk of existence itself went with it. But yeah, what did people actually do? I don't know. It's interesting. Should have asked my dad that question while he was still alive. I should have asked him a lot of things, come to think of it. I really knew nothing about him. He didn't give very much away. He just... Shit, hold on, the alarm's going off. I gotta check this out. Okay guys, I got a bit of a mess to clean up in the hallway. Talk to you later.
All my water's gone, all my food's gone, all my toilet paper's gone. I used a soggy piece of cardboard that I found under the kitchen sink this morning. That was a very depressing moment. The whole building is slowly growing quieter with each day. The hallways are silent. There's no sound of the neighbors below. or the sound of the usual stomping of feet above, which at one time drove me absolutely crazy. But now I actually miss it, and people are just dying off bit by bit, either by the virus or hunger or just simply losing the will to live. The streets are the same, they're just eerily quiet, and if I open the window just for a second, you get this pungent stench of death. The streets are just littered with rotting corpses, half-eaten corpses with their entrails hanging out, dead, decomposing pets, people's limbs, their arms, their legs, feet, mangled bodies that have just been driven over by people trying to flee the city. Some of them are completely flattened, pancaked like human roadkill. It's like a scene that no horror movie could ever possibly portray. It's hell. Sometimes you see some of the infected just sitting on the curb chewing their own flesh, biting into their arm, their hands, wherever they can reach with their mouths. Some of them are completely missing both hands. They've chewed them down right to the bone. Some of them are missing their lips. They've just bitten them away. They are literally eating their own faces. That's how much they crave raw meat. And sometimes they'll even try having a bite of the rotting corpses and then sort of recoil, then go to the next one, have a bite of that. They're becoming so desperate because fresh meat is running out, and they're now consuming bits of decomposing flesh, and it is the most disgusting thing a human being could ever witness. I cannot begin to describe the smell when you just open that window for a second. You can smell it with the window closed as well, but not as bad. But it is just, like I said, a scene from hell itself, and there is no escape from it. And I'm living on borrowed time now because I ate my last bit of food this morning, and now I have nothing. I have no water left, but I put a few cups on the windowsill, and so I'm just hoping that it rains in the next 48 hours. Otherwise, I'm in real trouble. If it doesn't rain, I'll have to remove the barricade that I've worked hard putting up in front of the door and take my chances and go look for food, water in the other apartments where I'm pretty sure the occupants are dead, or maybe they've moved on elsewhere. But regardless, after everything I've seen on that street below, nothing I see or smell when I enter those apartments will shock me. I've seen it all, but there's 24 apartments in this building, so the chances are pretty high that I will find food or water, and I will go armed, obviously wear my hazmat, take all the precautions I need to, because it's very likely that the infected have already gained entry to the building, possibly weeks ago even, because I heard a lot of screaming coming from what I think was the first floor, as if somebody was being attacked. And I've heard gunshots on numerous occasions, so the infected could be out there roaming the corridors as I speak. So anything I see out there that moves, I'm taking no chances. I'll open fire, simple as that. And in the worst case scenario, if I don't find anything, or actually the worst case scenario would be me getting my face chewed off. But if I don't find anything, I'm going to have to leave the building for the first time in over 12 weeks. Take my chances on the outside and try and get out of the city to a rural area, which is what I should have done during the early stages of the pandemic, but I didn't. And then my car was stolen, obviously by somebody trying to flee the city, and so I was stuck in my apartment, just rationing what little I had. And now that day has come, the day I dreaded all those months. My last bit of food is gone, and I have to go out there. As scared as I am, I have to. There's no choice. If this is my last broadcast to whoever is listening, I wish you all the luck in the world. Goodbye, and stay safe.
So now my kill count is up to 7. First one I shot was about 8 weeks ago, so that's almost a kill a week. I'm pretty proud of that. The first one was pretty easy. It literally just walked straight up to me, stared at me, and I just blew its head off, left a hell of a mess. The second one, I heard something in the kitchen, and there it was at the trash, rummaging around, and bang, one shot. He just went splat all over the wall. That one was very satisfying. As for the third and fourth, I shot them both in one night. I was sitting in my armchair just listening to the chaos outside, and I thought I heard something upstairs. It was very faint, but I was sure I heard something, kind of faint scratching noise, and I crept up the stairs very quietly and went to the spare room where I was sure the sound was coming from. And at first I saw nothing, but next thing, it bolted across the room. First shot I missed, and then it stopped at the wall and started running back in the direction it came from. And bang! Rest in peace, you pesky little dirtbag. Next thing I know, another one is running out from behind the door I just opened. I shoot and somehow miss him, but now I got him cornered, so he comes running at me. I take 2 steps back. He leaps at me and bang, take that, you creepy motherfucker. So anyway, I cleaned the place up and there were no disturbances for about a week or so, and then I heard something again. It woke me up in the middle of the night, but it weren't loud or nothing, but my ears just pick up on these things when I'm sleeping. I developed it in the military, acute hearing during sleep. Anyway, I heard something, and it was just above my head. It was coming from the loft, and I thought, my God, I thought I had secured the loft. Well, obviously not well enough, but anyway, I listened very closely and got a good idea of where this thing was, and bang, bang, good night, you son of a bitch. Another fucker bites the dust. So anyway, I went up into the loft then, and to my surprise, I'd actually killed 2 of the bastards, so now I was up to 6 kills, and thinking, damn, I'm pretty good at this. Of course, in the military, I had plenty of practice, but I'm an old man now, and my hand ain't as steady as it used to be, but it's still working pretty good. So anyway, on to victim number 7. It was just last night. I went out to the kitchen to get a beer, and when I came back to the living room, I just had this gut feeling that there was one right there in the room with me. I can't explain it. It's just a feeling I had. Call it a sixth sense or whatever is another thing I developed in the military. Just getting a sense that something ain't quite right. So, yeah, I could sense it. And I reached around the corner for my gun, which was on the kitchen counter, and I stood there quietly and patiently, not moving, not making a sound. My eyes were fixed on where I thought it was, right there behind the couch, and sure enough, it appeared, stuck his head out and started running. I could hardly make it out because it was so dark. But in times like that, time kind of slows down for me, almost like I can see a target moving in slow motion. Again, it's a military thing, but anyway, I locked on to the target, and bang! Sweet dreams, bitch. And that was my last kill. Of course, there's easier ways to kill them. Just put down a couple of traps with some cheese, but I hate rats. It's personal. All comes from my time in the military when I was knocked unconscious from a blast. And when I came to, I turned to my left and saw a big old dirty rat nibbling on my dead friend's nose, chewing the tip of it. And I shot it off, but unfortunately I shot my friend's nose off with it. So anyway, like I said, this shit is personal. And now the area is infested with them because of all the bodies lying all over the streets. The rats are having a feast, and I'd be taking shots out the window at them too, if I could, but I got the windows all boarded up. But it don't stop the stench from getting inside the house. It is absolutely horrendous. I can't imagine what it would be like if I walked outside. The smell of decomposing flesh is just hanging in the air all the time, and you'd think you'd get used to it, but you don't really. It's such a strong smell that you can almost taste. And when you're eating something, a sandwich or whatever, you can literally taste it on the bread. The stench just settles on everything. And what I've seen when I've looked out briefly from the window up in the loft is 100 times worse than anything I ever saw when I was deployed, including my friend's face being eaten. You can't compare it. The last time I looked, about 5 or 6 days ago, I reckon there was up on 20 to 30 bodies on the street below, ripped to pieces, their faces all blue and sunken in, their skin falling off the bone. Their bodies all mangled and twisted, some of them missing body parts, and they're all ages. There's men, women, and children. It's something that a person should never have to witness, and some of them have Probably been laying there decomposing for up on 2 months, I reckon. And so, yeah, that was the last time I looked out. And I won't be taking a look out there anytime soon again. I haven't had a normal night's sleep since. I just keep getting these horrible images flashing up in my mind, and I can't even stomach anything. My appetite is gone. When I look at food, it just makes me feel sick. And so I just haven't really eaten since. But anyway, I'm going to turn in for the night, try and get some shut-eye, and recharge the batteries for another day in hell. Speak to y'all soon.
Alone and scared. I've tried so hard to stay safe, but I think starting to show signs of the virus, I feel confused. And it feels like my mind is unraveling, and I've started this uncontrollable twitching. I don't know what's happening, but I'm fearing the worst. I think I have it. I think I have the virus, and I don't want to die. I don't want to become one of them. I want my mother. I'm so scared. Oh my god. No. My eyes are bleeding. Oh my god.
It ain't good, y'all. He dead, laying there with his head all bashed in, but I got some bad news. I got bit twice. Son of a motherfucking zombie bitch. This could be the end, y'all. DJ Apocalypse could be going to see his homeboy JJ Jabbar III sooner than he thought. No more DJ Apocalypse rocking those hips, nibbling on them BJ lips and spanking all the wobbly bits. Instead, it's gonna be DJ Apocalypse twitching at the hips, eating his own lips, scratching all the itchy bits, and decomposing and shit. Oh man, I thought the door was secure. I thought there was no getting through it, but that motherfucker was strong, y'all. He dismantled the fuck out of that shit with one kick. And he came at me, you heard it, we grappled and shit, and he bit my right arm first, and then got his teeth in my left hand. And I just smashed his head in with the table leg. I knew that shit would come in handy, but the damage has been done, y'all. There's like muscle tissue and shit coming out my hand. It looked nasty. My arm is bleeding, and I got scratches on my face, and it don't look good, y'all. I mean, you know me. You know your boy DJ Apocalypse. I can put a positive spin on any bullshit that come my way, but not this, y'all. Not when I know that in 4 or 5 days I'm gonna be one of them dead-eyed, twitchy sons of bitches, creeping about the hood, trying to eat my own face from the inside, chewing my fingers down to the bone like they chicken goddamn drumsticks, a piece of my own dick hanging off my top lip. Looking all freaky and shit, my ass hanging out, my body decomposing before I'm even dead, and stinking up the hood after I am. Oh hell no. Ain't no positive spin you can put on that shit. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty down about shit right now, and I still gotta clean this mess up, scoop up all the brains and shit off the floor, disinfect the fuck out of it. Not that there's much point now, but yeah, I gotta fix up the door and just keep doing my thing until I no longer can. But who knows, maybe I'm one of them freaks who can't get this thing, like one of them 0.001 of the population kind of freaks. Who knows? Maybe DJ Apocalypse gonna be alright. That gonna be my mindset, y'all. And whatever happens, happens. But if you don't hear from me in the next few days, y'all can safely presume that DJ Apocalypse be nibbling on somebody's ribs, foaming at the lips, falling to bits, and probably got the shits. Much love, y'all. DJ Apocalypse signing off.